So we're rolling. Cool. So, office talk with Stephen and Jimmy. Thank you for coming out, Mark.
Well, yeah, where's Jimmy?
Jimmy has had one hell of a last 2 weeks, actually. So
Okay.
I won't give all the details, but kid in the hospital.
Oh.
He had surgery. Yeah.
Oh, my
it's,
goodness.
It's
Okay.
been a rough one. So, yeah, but that's why there's two
Well,
of us.
so I'm filling in. So
Yeah, exactly.
happy to do it.
Well, so just for viewers and stuff, I obviously wanted to get you out here because, I'm trying to think when we first met. I met through Caden, obviously. Your
Sure.
kids. Caden and Rylan back, 6, 7 years ago?
I always thought it
was
wasn't
Recursion, wasn't it?
No, I thought I was in prison.
Well, it could have been.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
It was a strip search.
That's had to be.
No.
Did I use 2 fingers?
Yeah,
Maybe 3?
well, yeah, but you did have on a glove, so
Okay,
it's
that's
okay.
good, that's good.
And I did get a kiss afterwards.
Okay. No, I think
This
it was
just
Recursion.
really
It was-
went off the
Yeah,
rails
wow.
already.
This is what kind of podcast is this?
But no,
Sound
I
guys
think,
laughing over in the corner.
yeah, I think it was. Was it Recursion?
It was Recursion. Yeah, 'cause
No.
that was the first thing because
Yes, it
I'd
was.
seen Caden, and back to why I wanted to get you on. You produced a movie, Recollection. We'll get to that. But I met you with this Recursion. You're Caden's in high school, I think, still at the time. Or he was
Either
close
that
to
or
maybe
just out of it. Yeah.
I remember seeing a trailer that he put together called E equals and thought, man, this is the coolest thing, at least in this area, that
Right.
I've seen. I thought, who did this?
Right.
And I remember messaging Aubrey and saying, hey, who did this?
Oh.
Caden Butera. I'm like, oh man, I got to reach out to him. And I was just getting into acting. I've been on
Right.
Z Nation for, 1 or 2 episodes, and it
Right.
was just as an extra.
Sure.
And thinking I want to produce my own stuff. I have ideas. I remember meeting with Caden, and then it was, well, hey, Steven, hey, I've got this script called Recursion that I'd like to have you be the lead in.
Right.
It was just a 10-minute short or
Yeah.
something.
Which actually did pretty well. Actually, it's on the Sci-Fi Channel. It's got over 1 million views.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So you're on the Sci-Fi Channel
It
with
has
over 1
honestly
million views.
one of the most fun sets I think I've ever done. And, I think that goes to show you don't need a ton of money
And dangerous.
and a bunch of special effects to make it cool.
Yeah, thanks.
But that's where I met him, and then through that met you. And
Yeah.
and then here we are, fast forward 7, 8 years, post-COVID, whatever. You decide to produce a film, Recollection.
Right.
Where, ground zero, where do you start with that?
Man, where do you start with that? You start with
As a
support.
producer, too, not as the writer. Yeah.
Well, you support by supporting your kids. I mean, I've got this boy that from the moment he was
creative kids.
he was 8 years old had a camera in his hand.
Yeah.
And it just everywhere. He was filming everything and starts downloading free editing software off the internet at 10, and so which would last for a week and put a nice little color stamp or whatever that's called watermark.
Yeah.
And so he'd make a film, and then the software would expire, and then he'd make another one. That software would expire, and he just kept doing it. And finally, my wife Jackie and I were like, "Well, maybe we should, get
He's
him a
excited about this,
get him a better
obviously.
camera." And it was just all over. That was it. Now it's funny because I'm into golf, I'm into basketball. Neither of my boys could give a rip. They just don't care. But we do have a pretty nice home theater. That
I've
was
been
it.
in your house, yeah. You got a nice house, yeah.
That was it. It was like, he grew up with that, and this is what I want to do. And so he's not a college-bound type individual, whereas my younger son Rylan absolutely loves to learn in a universal. Or not universal. What am I thinking? Just
Stereotypical way.
yeah,
Textbook.
right. Like textbooks,
Yeah.
classrooms, that sort of stuff. Caden, not so much. He's completely self-taught. He's just not college. Wouldn't putting Caden through. You got to take these electives, and this
Biology
is
and sociology and
It's
all
like,
that.
oh man, it'd be horrible. But give him the freedom to learn on his own. The guy is super smart, and again, I'm very biased. I'll be the first to tell you I'm biased.
Well,
but
not to
I
derail
think
your thought,
very
though,
talented.
I asked this on a previous episode. Do you think college is a waste of time?
No. It depends on what you want.
Depends on what you're pursuing.
If you're going to get a degree in underwater basket weaving and it doesn't have any
Underwater
real
ping pong?
any real application to the real world, then it's probably a complete and total waste. Having said that,
Right.
in college, for me, I went to Loyola Marymount. Go Lions! And
there.
had a great experience. Met my wife there, and got a degree in psychology, which is why I'm in banking. and realized
Does it help
that
being able to read people?
What I took away from college, and I think most people, not all, but quite a few would agree with this, is that I learned how to learn. So I learned how to take a concept, take an idea, take something, boil it down to its core elements, and be able to pass a test.
Right.
As much as that seems silly, that is what you need in the real world. So you get into banking or you get into movie making, you're like, well, how do I pass this test?
Right.
Well, actually, I learned how to do that in college. I learned how to do it in high school, and then I really refined how to do that in college. That's what college taught me.
I agree. I mean, not to get derailed, but yeah, I tell my kids, I'm like, guys, you need to go to have the experience. It has nothing to do with the knowledge. Because the knowledge, by the time you graduate, it's probably going to be outdated anyway.
But there are certain, like, example, Rylan goes to college and he learns music. Well, Rylan flippin' learned music.
Yeah, that was very specific.
He learned stuff.
Yeah.
He walked out. What did I walk out with my degree in psychology? Did I really know how to sit in front of a schizophrenic or somebody who'd been abused and really deal with that?
Right.
No, college didn't teach me that, but it taught me how to learn how to do that sort of thing. But that was also the point is, on paper, schizophrenia is fascinating. How does something go so wrong? In real life, it's flipping terrifying. You're staring at him like, oh, I'm supposed to help this person? I'm not qualified. I ran away so fast.
So Caden, though, so he's like, hey.
So sorry, yeah.
No, you're good. So he's no college, not going to do college.
Just not his bag, yeah, self-taught.
Yeah.
But
do you think maybe that would be different if you were, if you lived in L.A. and it was, hey, there's a lot of film schools, and do you think it would have been more, hey, it's, because let's face it, you live in Idaho.
Yeah.
There's not a lot in the way of, hey, let's go to film school in Idaho.
True. Here's the funny thing, is I know people, having grown up, Southern California. I shouldn't apologize. There's some great things about Southern California.
San Jose, so that's fine.
There you go. See? I'm from Lancaster. That I should apologize for. Sorry. No one from Lancaster is going to hear this. Like I said, Lancaster's take Vegas and they'll take away the fun. Anyway.
Okay.
But
America's playground without the playground.
There you go. Yeah. So long story short is, what were we talking about?
Well, just Caden self-teaching himself, and,
yes.
and his, if you don't mind me saying now, when I saw that E = trailer that he put together, I thought, this kid is fucking talented.
Thank you.
And that was initially, I remember thinking, that's not to toot your horn or toot his horn if he's here.
No, it's all from me. But thank you.
I was thinking to myself, man, this guy has some huge potential, and I have to stay on this kid's radar. I have to be on this kid's radar, because as he starts doing new things and coming out with new movies and stuff, this is going to be huge. He's going to be a big deal.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah. So fast forward,
and I agree. And I also have to plug the fact that my younger son and him are as tight as can be, and they are
exceptional too.
They are the best collaborators, and just they finish each other's sandwiches, right?
Yeah.
What is that?
Right.
But they're just amazing. Both of them together it's a synergistic 2 + 2 = 8. It's incredible and neat to watch.
So did he come
again
to you
very biased?
Yeah, no, understandable. Did he come to you at one point and say, "Dad, I got a script. You just got to support me. I want to do this movie"? Or was it, okay, I'm going to find my own way, and you saw him and thought, you know what, I gotta put some money into this kid? And I mean, how did that unfold?
First of all, I'm married to a very, very smart woman, much smarter than me. So I married up. That's for sure. We met at Loyola Marymount. She is a psychology major, and so she's very, very attuned to, developmental steps and what's important to kids. And we both looked at it, but really basically said, "Well, honey, what do we do with this?"
Yeah.
And she basically said, "We're going to support him. We're going to support him. College is not going to be what he needs to do." Right. And so it just naturally evolved. It just naturally evolved from, hey, I made a short film and another short film, and then he made a 25-minute film for his senior project called Misdirection. And we filled 2 or 3 theaters in Hayden, and And then he gets a job out of high school doing some film work, and that helped him refine his photography and his eye and all of that stuff while he was still writing. And at a certain point, Jackie and I just looked at each other and said, well, all the money we kind of saved for college, what do we do with that? And you know, this is obviously not his path. And we said, well, college is not cheap. What if we funneled that into our son, into, you know, getting him some better equipment and that sort of thing? And it just kind of took off from there.
Yeah.
And so when it came time to make the full-length feature film, and there's a process that, and he'd probably
we'll
be
get
better
into,
at, there was almost, I wouldn't say there wasn't any hesitancy, because, you know, it costs a lot.
Right.
And we learned a lot, and then there was it's just
Well, you know, as a kid,
amazing
hey,
thing.
I'm using my folks' money,
Right.
and I got to make this good, and
But
you know,
it just felt like it was natural. This is what we should be doing to support our son.
Yeah.
What's funny about that is so many people look at us like, I can't believe you're supporting your son. I'm like,
why
really?
wouldn't you? Yeah.
It just feels like this is what we should be doing. Of course, I have a 20. Well, yeah, we'll just leave it there. Let's just say this. I think we're good. I think we're really good, and I think we are going to go places. Those two are, but we haven't gotten anywhere yet.
Mm-hmm. So Recollection, which we'll drop by the time this episode airs.
Right.
We'll put obviously the trailer's already posted.
Recollection. Yeah.
Can the camera?
Sorry, I don't know.
Yeah,
I just
do it. Yeah.
I brought.
So by the time this airs, people can go. I mean, so many questions. Obviously, you know me as an actor, but on the producing side, like, where do you start with? Okay, once we get the movie done, let's say we know we're going to make a good film. We know it's going to be top quality. But what do we do then? Do we call up Netflix and say, "Hey,
well,
you want to buy my film?" You know, what do you do with that?
Wow. Well, we have some time.
We do.
And I'm going to try to. Trying to see if
I'm only half a beer in.
Trying to see if I can keep this interesting, but my 9-to-5 job, my regular job, is a commercial banker. So what I've done my entire career, and believe it or not, I've been doing this for 37 years, right out of high school. I have seen.
You started in banking right out of high school?
Yeah, right out of high school. Teller, absolutely. And which is, again, this was my fallback position when I graduated from college and said, hey, psychology is not the degree for me. So I just was like, well, I was working at a bank, and it just evolved.
Right. As most careers do.
Yeah, exactly. But my entire career, what I've done and seen is I've worked with highly successful business owners and individuals. That's just every day. Mm-hmm. And I get to see their tax returns. I get to see their financials. I get to see how did they make their money? How are they successful? What's a successful business? What's not?
Right.
And so I'd like to think that I took that knowledge and that experience and I've applied it towards the film. And so I'm the business guy. I'm not the creative guy. My whole thrust here is to get it sold.
You're funding this thing. You're taking care of the logistics.
We do have investors, but I would be considered your primary investor. But yes, there's others that have believed in this project and contributed significant sums towards it, which is wonderful.
And how long from start to finish? I mean, I know technically speaking, you're wrapping up. I mean, I know you picture locked a little while ago, but there's color grading, there's sound, there's music.
Start to finish.
So when can you say we're done? Next week?
Well, if you ask George Lucas when Star Wars is done,
right? That's a good point.
You could tweak this.
20 years later.
There is a saying, and movies are not released; they escape. Right? From start to finish, though, what was the film that you saw, the trailer you saw for Cadence that made you?
It was E equals.
That was where this started. E equals is Recollection.
Okay.
So
it just morphed.
It morphed into something else. It morphed into what ultimately it is today. But that first draft is Recollection. Kate is the name of that character, and so it completely changed. And then again, I'm going to give a lot of credit to Caden as a self-starter, and honestly to one of the leads, the male lead in our film, Falk Henschel, which is an amazing
dude. Yeah,
actor,
good dude.
great dude, good
Love you,
actor.
buddy.
Honestly, Hollywood needs to recognize how good of an actor that guy is. He could very easily be winning an Academy Award. He's unbelievable.
That's what's so difficult, not to get on a rabbit trail.
Sure,
but
sure.
It's so difficult about Hollywood is there's so many actors that are not that great that get the spotlight and they get the roles, and then you have others that you see some independent film or a big movie, and this person has a little tiny part, thinking, man, that person is exceptional.
Yeah.
Why aren't they given an opportunity? We'll have to get into how you cast the film too in a little bit, but
I'll be happy to do that. But what was interesting about Falk? It's weird the way this is.
F-A-L-K, Falk.
F-A-L-K. The way this is all coming into what? Because what was the first film that you worked on in Cadence?
it was Recursion.
So,
Yeah.
Recursion. Falk saw Recursion. Falk saw it at a Comic-Con, and we were there as well. And we were just, hey, we're Paradox Studios, and we were showing Recursion on a kind of on a loop. And he saw it, and he looked at the cinematography. He said, "Wow, who is this?" You know, and he walked over. This movie star walks over and it starts talking to Caden. You're like, "Wow, this is really good. Who did you work for? Who did this?" "Well, I did." He's like, "What do you mean you did? You're
Everything, DP, casting,
you're a
cinematography,
kid."
yeah.
Yeah. No, I did it. And so it just started this relationship that we have. Someone's at the front door.
I know, I keep hearing this wind chime.
So,
I love it. Hey, Jimmy.
And so Caden gives Falk E =. And we're like, yeah, he's going to be like, oh my God, you know what you're expecting.
Right.
This is the best thing I've ever read.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
We're going to make millions of dollars. And no, Falk ripped it to shreds. and you could just see Caden, everything is self-taught. And it was just like,
Yeah.
oh no. And I'm going to give credit to them. He rewrote that script 14 times. He read every book Falk told him to read about screenwriting, about story and structure and character arcs, and just kept at it, and then kept giving it to Falk, and Falk being, and ultimately we got to Recollection,
The current script.
And so you're talking about start to finish, going all the way back. What is this?
3 years? 4 years?
No, 8.
Oh, geez.
I mean,
yeah,
when did E = first get, penned? E = that's the start of it, and then now.
Yeah, 2016, because I remember seeing it right after I did some extra stuff on Z
So
Nation.
9 years.
Yeah. Wow.
So long story short, but for Recollection, once it was finally called Recollection, we're like, we're gonna do this. Been about just about 3 years.
Yeah.
From soup to nuts. Hey, we got it. Now we got to get money. We got to figure out how we're going to cast it. Da 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 da.
Well, and then the film, because it's not out yet, it's sci-fi thriller.
Correct.
It seems like so many people, when they want to make a movie, they just instantly go to, let's do a horror movie. Let's throw more blood in there. And you guys decided we're going to do a sci-fi thriller. There's going to be some tech involved.
Right, because we were dumb.
Right.
Let's just be really clear. Because we were uninformed, we were dumb. We were not.
Ignorance is bliss.
Ignorance
I guess,
is bliss. There are certain film genres that will sell regardless of who your actor who's in it.
Right.
Horror is one of them. You make horror, and I don't care who. Steven, you could even be in it.
No kidding.
I know, right?
Let's do it
so
next.
There's a chance, and so
as long as there's enough blood in there,
enough blood and ridiculousness or scares, horror will sell. So do faith-based films and Christmas films.
Okay.
Those genre of films do not need a star. So we went and did something that really kind of required that. And
so that's perfect with casting. That's perfect to segue into that if I'm not jumping on another thought.
No, that's fine. It's just, I will say we put ourselves behind the 8 ball at the very beginning because we didn't pick a genre. But this wasn't about picking a genre. This was Caden and Riley writing a script that they liked,
right,
that they could get behind. And that's what they like. And so that's why we did it.
I remember, he would send it over and just give me, he'd say, Steve, can you can you read this section, just tell me if anything jumps out at you, tell me if something feels weird. And I remember just going through that process and seeing kind of the evolution of it a little bit,
Right.
which was intriguing. And I think I keep touching on this, but the amount of growth that he has had since he started.
Agree.
I mean, if I show him Recursion now, he's like, oh God, please. He's ashamed.
He is.
You know?
Which is funny because I still look at that and think it's really good. Misdirection, again, take a look at, I shouldn't even say this, but the guy has a YouTube channel and he has not pulled off anything. So if you want to see that evolution, it's out there. It's documented. You can see it. and you're right. The hope is that what we've created here is industry standard and looks really good, sounds really good, and that your modern audience isn't going to know that this was a low budget feature.
Well, that's proof in the pudding that you can produce. I mean, granted, you guys probably did a lot of extra stuff that maybe Hollywood would just throw money at, that you I don't want to say cut corners, that's the wrong way, but maybe saved money, like with craft services, for example, or things like that, to keep the cost way, way, way down. I don't know if I can ask what the budget was or what you spent.
Oh, no, you can ask all day long.
Hey, Mark, what was the budget? What did you guys spend? Is it still going?
Let's put it this way. It is a low-budget film, and low budget in Hollywood terms is under $7 million.
So okay. So anywhere there.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but yes, let me be honest. I haven't taken a paycheck for executive producing. My wife has not taken a paycheck. Caden has not. Neither has Ryland. So your director, your editor, your colorist, your composer, your PA, those positions are free so far. And everybody else that acted in the film understood, or was in the crew, understood what we were trying to do. Hey, we're in Idaho. We're trying to do this thing. And I'm going to just tip my hat to our cast and crew of just drinking the Kool-Aid, and then absolutely buying in and going, yeah, okay, we know what we're doing. We know we're not getting paid what we're worth. The truth is, almost no one, especially in this area, ever is. But gosh darn it, we got a shot to really make something really cool.
Well, and being from this area, I mean, if you were in LA or Atlanta or some of these other big markets, you'd have a huge pool of talent to pull from. So you're casting here in northern Idaho-ish, Washington. I mean, there's a few locations we filmed, but how do you cast something like that? You've never done this before.
Right.
You've never produced a film before. We're going to make a badass film. It's going to be a couple hours in length, which I don't know what the end time.
It's just under 2 hours.
Just under 2 hours.
It's under 2 hours. Yeah.
How do you? Where do you start? How do you do that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm not sure I have a great answer for you, other than when you're writing a script and when you're pitching it, most people will tell you, or people in the industry will say, well, when you pitch the script, I want you to think of an actor that would be in that role. So if you're writing a Tom Cruise type role, then you pitch it to your, the investment company is, well, it's like Tom Cruise on this kind of movie. And so there was kind of a character archetype that existed, or that Caden and Ryland had in their head as they were writing these. And so those type of thought processes kind of drove how to cast it. Now, having said that, I'm not sure we cast any of those people or people that, because of just how expensive they were. And so this is one of the things, you got to roll with the punches, man. So we're trying to cast, and I'm thinking of the role of Sid Diaz, which is kind of our comic relief. He's played by Eric Roberts in our film.
Okay.
First of all, Eric just kills it.
I've always loved seeing him. I remember seeing him on that show Heroes. Did you ever watch Heroes?
Was he on that?
He was. He was one of the.
No, I didn't know that.
He's always, at least what I've ever seen him in, he's always kind of like the bad guy, but could be good, but could be like borderline.
Star 80.
Yeah.
I mean, But
yeah, he was in Heroes. I remember I loved his character. Yeah.
But what's interesting about Eric Roberts, and just real quick segue, is I think he's in a lot of movies. That's just what he does. I just don't think a lot of those, when people hire him, they're so intimidated. They just want him in the film. We want his face on the poster. We want to be able to say he's there. I think we got a performance out of him. He gets tortured in our film, but he also plays the comic relief, and he kills it. He's flipping back and forth. So we got Eric Roberts to act, and he just gives a great performance. But my point is casting. That's not how that character was envisioned.
Right.
That character was not was going to be overweight with a hairy chest and a gold chain, and hey, what you doing?
Right.
Yeah, and so, but in terms of as you're going through this process and you're whittling it down, well, who can we get? Who can we afford?
But how do you start with? I mean, thinking about
that's how you get there.
Millions of actors.
Yeah.
Do you go to like a couple of different agencies and say, okay, well, give us a list of the actors that you represent, and then you kind of thumb through the list and oh, I recognize this name. Let's get a hold of them and see what their going rate is.
Believe it or not, yes, you pick the actors that you want.
Time consuming.
Oh yeah, you pick the actors that you want. Oh, this is And then if you have an IMDb Pro, you'll see their agent.
Right.
And then you reach out to their agent and say, hey, would this person be interested?
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't reach out to Tom Cruise's agent because I'm smart enough that ain't gonna work, and he's not gonna say yes anyway.
There's no aliens in the film anyway.
No.
You can't use Tom Cruise.
But it kind of worked that way. It kind of like started and we just kind of went down a list in terms of how we got there. Man,
was Eric Roberts the first person you did cast?
The first person that we actually cast is not in our film. She is on our film, actually. Her name is Aubrey Davis, and she's an amazing local actress. And Caden has worked with her. She was actually in E =, worked with her for years. But unfortunately, events and things that happened in her life, she wasn't able to be our lead.
Take the role.
And so then we cast another, and she was amazing. And then due to COVID, one day before shooting, she wasn't our lead. Both of these ladies are in our movie.
So just to highlight that, because I remember that. So you guys had, I'll say her name, Jasmine. Wonderful, awesome girl, amazing actress.
Yes.
So she gets COVID the day before you guys are ready to shoot, right?
Right. Yeah.
And you can't.
And keep in mind, this is 2021, so it's
the world's nuts. Yeah.
The world is nuts, and yeah, I won't go down that rabbit hole. But let's just say there was a significant amount of fear.
Yeah.
And we wanted to protect our crew as best we can without going overboard.
Well, so why don't you just kick the shoot date out a couple of weeks? Let her get over it.
Right.
Hey, we'll kick it down 2 weeks.
She'll
be good.
And that was exactly the problem. I had Eric Roberts coming in on certain days. I had Cesar Garcia coming in on certain days. We had this set up, and it had to go but like clockwork,
boom, boom, boom.
or this wasn't going to work. Now, and so we literally, I remember all four of us, Jackie, me, Caden, Ryland, sitting on our front porch, just like, what are we going to do?
Punch.
We can't change the shooting schedule. We know how sick she's going to get. By the way, she ended up getting pretty sick.
Yeah.
And so, we had to pivot. And so we had our second choice actress who really came in and just did an amazing job for us, Rosalind Luke. And so she got the call. And
the day before shooting.
The day before.
2
And
days
I got to give a lot of credit to Rosalind. She said yes. She dropped what she was doing. She came in and did an incredibly emotional role without, having really prepared for it. And we just literally, she walked in, we threw her into the mix, right into the vitality scenes, and she did it. She killed it. But
that's tough from an acting perspective. I mean, I'm not a Johnny Depp or whatever, but with method acting, but trying to grab a hold of a character the day before or on the flight.
Could you imagine?
There.
Yeah. I can't imagine what that would be like. You just aren't sitting with the material. You're not doing any of the walkthroughs, the warm reads with the director.
Backstory.
Yeah. You're just absolutely you're thrown
scrambling to memorize lines.
Right. You absolutely are. So we're very, very fortunate.
So you recast Jasmine with Roslyn.
Right.
You guys start shooting.
Right.
And that was summer of
2021.
2020. Man,
Right. Right.
that I can't believe it was that long ago.
Yeah, I can't either. But again, think of it this way: we have a 4-man production crew, and so we are everything after shooting wrapped, which would have been, I think it was in August of 2021, came down to 4 people.
Wow.
And so you think about a Hollywood team and what a Hollywood team has. They've tons of special effects. They've got tons of sound people and sound mixing and sound design. Yeah, we had to hire those out, but in order to get them ready, we had to have that completely edited, colored, all of those things, and that is what really a 2-man team did.
Do you feel like Hollywood, like when you're producing something, it's almost like the federal government. There's just a ton of money that's just wasted because it's we paid for this, and
I think
you almost need a Doge for the Hollywood.
Yeah, I think that is probably true.
Department of Hollywood Efficiency.
But here's
DOHE.
here's the thing. All I can tell you.
Sorry.
All I can tell you is that we filmed this, and I think we pulled it off significantly less than this could have been done in Hollywood, just because of the amount of permits, and quite frankly, that town expects to be paid for that. Whereas I'm in Idaho, man.
Yeah.
In Idaho, not only are they don't expect to, let's use your location. They're like happy, like, I'm going to be in a movie. I get to use, come on in. Well, how's it going to cost? Oh, it's not going to cost anything.
Yeah.
And so, they
So
changed their tune once they realized just how disruptive we can be.
That's a good point, though. I remember seeing, I remember watching a James Cameron or a Schwarzenegger interview when he's talking about Terminator 1. There's that scene where he goes up to the car and he punches through the car window.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, this is one take. It's all set up.
Right.
But hey, we don't have a permit for this.
Oh.
They're not going to issue it, or we can't get it in time. So just go do your thing really quick.
Right.
We have to do this in one take. So he punches through the window as the Terminator, takes the keys, starts the car, and drives off.
Wow.
Thought, to your point, though, with permits, like that was in California, like, all right.
So we did this, I think we did this incredibly efficient. The truth of the matter is too efficient. We did it, and there's some of those members of our crew that are in this room, maybe working on sound. We
wink, wink.
Absolutely put those folks to the ringer, and we, just because we only had so much money that we could spend, and we had so many departments, and we needed them to do more than that we just needed them to do that, and it was rough. It was
his
rough.
testament. I mean, he's one of the best in the business. Caleb, I don't know if I can say what you have coming up. I don't know if I can. Jordan Peterson stuff potentially. Okay, yeah, looking good. Yeah,
Okay.
No, he's one of the best in the business.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely.
That's why
Doing a great job.
He did my audio book when we first started that. You're doing sound for this. Yeah, he's.
Yeah. But my point is that we leaned on our cast and crew heavy because Caleb should have had a couple people running sound, you're right? Couple people, we should have had more gaffers moving stuff around, and we just didn't.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't make it this cheap again. And I wouldn't say this cheap, but I think I would be adding something to the budget just to take a little bit more off of our plate.
So that kind of goes into the next segment. That's good. So movies done. You guys sell it. I mean, where do you think ideally, or is there a typical area that you would say, okay, well, let's try to target international first, or let's try to go to the theaters, or let's go. I don't even know how that works. I'm like, back to our point. Do you just call up Netflix and say, hey guys, okay, you want to run it on?
Again, here we go. Again, I've watched businesses my entire career, and I'm like, well, let's figure it out.
Right.
Well, that's a lot harder to do than you think.
I bet.
There are certain gatekeepers in Hollywood, and those gatekeepers, it's their job to have connections and to understand and to know where a film fits, how it fits, and who to sell it to. They don't But that's almost it. They walk around with this knowledge.
Right.
But you think they aren't going to give it to you because that's what makes them valuable.
Right.
And I get it. You work in an industry your life, and you amass this certain amount of knowledge that, if you just give it away now, your competitors are doing it. They don't need you.
Right.
But I will, once again, I'm going to tip my hat to my wife, my producer, Jackie. She's so good at researching. And we just took a look at, all right, well, this is the film we have. What's our demographic? Mm-hmm. Well, our demographic is going to be males between
this age and
this age, and then you start refining that and go, okay, well, we have a female lead in our film, and we're talking about trauma and erasing memories and things. Maybe there's a psychological component to this, so maybe that it's there. So we try to figure out, where does this fit. You start doing research, you start finding out which film distribution company kind of has released films like that have done well,
right.
And you start making a list.
And you put together, it's called a pitch deck, right?
Right.
I didn't even know what that term was until a couple years ago.
Yeah, we put a pitch deck together. This is our film. This is who's in our film. This is why we think our film will resonate with audience. This is our audience, and then this is where we think, and this is how we would market it and how we think we would do with it.
Yeah.
And so again, my wife put all that together. Now, we're about to find out if it works.
Right.
So I'm singing her praises. 6 months from now, I'm like, man, honey, your research was crap. But no, I doubt that. But
no, I get you. Jackie's awesome. So playing devil's advocate, assuming that it falls on its face, nobody buys it. Nobody buys the film, and you're crying. But then do you say, okay, well, because YouTube and views and stuff wasn't even a thing 10 years ago. I mean, a little bit, but nowhere near what it is now.
Yeah.
Do you target that market? Do you say, okay, well, nobody bought the film, or they didn't give us what we wanted for it, so we're gonna run with a whole different angle.
We're gonna self-distribute it and put it out on YouTube. Yeah. The truth is, you can do all of those. All of those avenues are open for just about anybody. Mm-hmm. You want your movie on Amazon Prime? You can do that. You just need to go to Amazon Prime and say, hey, I want to list my movie, and no one will probably ever find it, but
it'll be buried with all the other millions.
But you'll be on Amazon. You can actually pay Netflix to put you on their platform. Mm-hmm. Of course, we want Netflix to pay us.
Right.
Kind of a big difference, and but you can do that. That option is out there. And so the real question is, let's just say it does fall flat on its face.
Which I don't think it will, for the record.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hopefully we've done enough research to understand who our target audience is, and so that if we are in a situation where we self-distribute, that we can drive traffic to rent that. And now I will say, one of our investors, very, very smart man, had an online business, and he learned really quick that if you can engage online personalities and have them, kind of endorse your product, their viewership kind of drives sales. And so we've got a couple internet celebrities in our film, Jason Patton from the Fire Department Chronicles, and Joe Hansen from It's Okay to Be Smart. Mm-hmm. Amazing guys, great content, millions of views.
Influencers. Is the term? Yeah.
They're both in the film. And hopefully, as a result of that, we can kind of maybe tap into their audience a little bit. They can say something and, oh yeah, I know those guys, and maybe they'll be interested. So, but again, it's a crapshoot, my friend.
But thinking about how much, you remember, we both remember when you rewind back to, God, I'm just thinking about in college. I remember, for some reason, this memory sticks with me. I remember trying to find The Lord of the Rings when it was first getting filmed. And I remember just geeking out on that. I'm thinking, okay.
A lot of people did.
Yeah, and I remember it was done. I saw it in theaters. And then thinking in my head, it's going to be a year and a half before this thing is out on DVD, for those that remember DVDs. And then I had to go on LimeWire or BearShare or something, and I found it, and I ripped it, downloaded it, and watched it on my own.
You're saying this... Okay.
No, I don't care, because it forced
Peter Jackson. he didn't mean it.
It forced the industry to change, to say, hey, we have to get this content out quickly.
Right.
And there was no such thing as streaming back then. So now it's like a completely different.
So different.
I mean,
not only so different, but think of this, Stephen. When we first were renting movies in DVDs and VHS, and we were going to Blockbuster,
right.
I'd spend $1 on that movie, and I'd take it home and watch it. It could have been a dumpster fire of a movie, and as a matter of fact, a lot of them were. I watched the whole thing. I spent $1 on that, damn it. I'm going to watch this dumpster fire to the end.
Doesn't matter how shitty it is.
It just didn't matter. That's what I'm going to do. Now, you turn on Netflix, you're already paying for the subscription. If it's crap, you got 5 minutes, maybe.
Max,
and then it's like,
yeah, I'll
it's
take
off.
another one. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll do thanks. So that's a real challenge. You know, we are essentially playing our movie or screening it in the short attention span theater. And so if we don't have something that's going to grab your interest and keep you engaged, we know modern audiences will turn it off.
Right.
And so that is a real challenge, the way that people consume this kind of content now. You have got to grab them, and you got to try to grab them quick. Otherwise, they'll turn it off.
Do you start doing shorts? Do you start, these little 30-second blips on Instagram and stuff to get?
We'll see.
There's so many different things that.
I mean, we have a trailer out now, which is awesome. It's a 60-second trailer, and it's hopefully, it creates enough buzz and audience that drives people to it. Yeah, thank you.
So now that you're, I don't want to say done yet, but you still have to.
We for all intents and purposes, we're done.
The heavy lifting stuff.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. You want to do another one? Do you want
Oh gosh, yeah.
Okay.
So how do I? Imagine you
Thanks,
just
brother.
went
Appreciate
through a 3.5 year ringer, and you learned an entire new language, right?
Right.
You learned what this language is and how it is, and so you could take this amazing trip to this country, and you learn the whole language. Then you go there, and then you never go back. Okay, wait a minute. What a shame it would be. All the things, especially the things that we've learned in terms of how to make the film, hopefully how to distribute it, what audiences are going to connect to, all of those things,
right.
All the things we've learned. What a shame it would be if we didn't get the opportunity to hopefully do it again and use that knowledge and keep it going.
So is the next one a faith-based, bloody, gory? Is that?
Yeah, it's weird because that's a big genre mashup that no one's ever thought of.
Right.
There's a reason for that. Actually, no. There are actually a few, and one is coming to mind that's highly inappropriate. But I'll just tell you. I'm sorry. I'm going to segue here. There is
no shame.
There is a. I don't even know the name of it, and it's not in English. I think it's Italian or Spanish.
Some of the best movies are not in English.
Okay. Yeah, very true. But basically, so Jesus, he awakens Lazarus, right? Lazarus is dead, right? So the rock rolls away. Lazarus comes out. Well, in modern cinema, when somebody is dead and comes to life, what are they?
Oh, is this zombie Jesus?
They're a zombie.
Oh, I've seen memes and oh god,
This
yeah, it's
is
hilarious,
unbelievable.
He's throwing fish and killing people.
It is unbelievable, incredibly irreverent. My mom would be rolling over in her grave, just going, "Oh, I can't believe they did that." But I'm just dying laughing.
My eyes water when I laugh too hard.
Okay, so I will tell you. So maybe it has been done. But actually, no. I guarantee the religious, the faith-based folks not happy with that film. But no, our next film is going. Cadence. We always have something. We've got 3 or 4 different scripts right now. I'd love to tell you what they all are and what they're about. But we've got one that is.
Can you give us a hint?
Action, adventure, horror.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we've got a zombie western. We've got. The real question is, can we get the right actor? Having learned what we've learned is, how do we make this contained enough with the budget that we think we can raise now that we've done one, and get the performances that we really, really want, and get this to really, really connect with audience? That's what's driving us. And at the end of the day, what genre sells?
Right. And so in hindsight, is there a certain area that you would spend more money on it? I mean, obviously, if you had a bigger budget, you'd spend more money in every area. But
Sure.
But is there an area like, oh man, next time we absolutely have to pony up for this?
Well, I need to make
sure
sure
the sound
that
guy is behind you.
Yeah.
He's like pointing at himself.
the first thing I'll say is that my wife should not be head of catering, head of marketing, head of wardrobe,
She was spinning too
head
many
of
plates.
makeup. Yeah.
Yeah.
We need separate departments for those type of things. And I would
She was what's the term? Butter scraped over too much bread.
Oh
It
yeah,
was like
for
she
sure.
spread so thin it was
yeah. Jack of all trades, master of none. And her name is Jackie, so that kind of fits. But the truth is that that's what I would change.
Yeah.
Is we need more. We had one person doing art, the art director on this film. She made all the sets. Oh my gosh. We just beat her to death. There needs to be more people, and of course no one's seen the film yet, but there's an entire server room. We built servers, and one person shouldn't be doing all that. So yes, I think it's not so much what would I spend more money on, it's where did I need more bodies to be more efficient.
So how did you get, for somebody that maybe is inspired, thinking, okay, well, heck, maybe they want to sport their kids, or their kid is just as talented as Caden and Rylan, that want to do a film.
Man.
How did you pull all these people together with, probably in some cases, hey, I can't pay you, but do you want to be a part of this because we really need you? And
Sure.
I mean, how do you pull people like that together? How did you pull that off?
Again, I'm going to
You're
have
just
to...
that charismatic of a guy?
Yeah, I am,
think you
man.
are.
I'm just amazing. Yeah. I mean, the millions of people watching this podcast are riveted
That's right.
right now.
Watching me drink a beer.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. So, watch as Steven slowly kills his liver. But I'll have to say, first things first. And again, I'm biased, but I've got a very talented kids,
Yeah.
and they're very, very good at what they do. And so as a result, they attract people that reckon. You saw his trailer, you're like, oh, who did this?
It was not just, and again, I'm not saying this to toot your horn or his horn, but it was clearly a cut way, way above. And I remember seeing just some of the, there's the local thing that we do here, the 50-hour slam. That they have.
Right.
And he did a few of those, and those were...
T-Cops,
Yeah,
1 and 2,
T-Cops.
awesome.
And it was just, it was hands down, there was not even a close second. You see, nothing against the other artists. I'm not trying to shit on the other artists, but the quality of what he did, I'm like, man, did he have a way bigger budget than some of the others? Or was he just better, this is his craft, and somebody else, it was their first time, and
Sure.
you watch the films that he's done, and it's like, wow, this is really good.
Yeah. Well, listen, I can play basketball. But when I was 25, I could play basketball. But I was not Luka Doncic, okay, or LeBron James at 25. There were just certain natural things that other people can do, and they're blessed with those talents and those abilities for whatever reason. Now, don't get me wrong, neither of those two basketball players got there because they were born that good.
Right.
They were certainly born with natural athletic prowess and talent, but both of those players are some of the smartest basketball players playing the game today, but they also practice like you wouldn't believe. Well, that's my boys. I think they have raw talent, absolutely, but they are constantly making art. They are constantly doing this sort of thing. And so...
Well, and to your comment on the script with Falk, clearly they're not so egotistical or arrogant that it's my script.
It's
and
my
I'm not
script.
gonna change
It's so
it.
good.
Yeah, they're willing to say, okay, I'm willing to take some feedback and...
For sure. I mean, man, but that's another interesting thing, because at a certain point you do have to say, no, this is my vision and this is what my vision is, and I'm going to stick to this.
Is that light blinding?
No, it's fine. I'm sorry. I'm just very ADHD,
No,
and
you're
so
good.
I thought squirrel. But the truth of the matter is that that type of ego, you're not going to really, believe it or not, in this business, is as many egos as there are. I think that the directors that most stars want to work with are the ones that don't have that allow you to come to the table with ideas and creative ideas and thoughts, and allow you to, quote unquote, play in the film. And that is very much what Caden does. But at a certain point, like I said, you do have to say, hey, this is my idea. This is, I have to own this, and I think it needs to stay there. So Falk comes back and says, you got to get rid of this. And Caden would say no.
Kind of hold his ground.
But 9 times out of 10, Caden would say, yeah, okay.
One of the things I like about Caden, just after working with him on a handful of projects, his directing style is, and I've worked with a handful of directors, obviously, doing the acting thing, commercials and films. And one of the things I just love about his directing style is he gives you direction of what he wants. You're kind of like, okay, here's what I see. Here's what I kind of want you to do. But then he has this subtle way of tweaking your performance to kind of dial you. It's like bumper bowling or something. I don't know.
Caden is the king of metaphors.
He is. And then, not to cut off your thought, but then when you're done and he gets what he wants, he'll kind of give you, okay, do whatever you want. Here's another take. Just surprise me.
Like I said, he'll let actors play.
Yeah.
And for actors that really that this is what feeds them. That is absolutely what they thrive off of.
Yeah.
What can this character be? What can I do? What can I bring to it that's different and unique? And then you get certain directors in Hollywood, and I'm not crapping on them, but that write in a certain way. It has to be that way. There is no variation from that. And if you vary from that, you will be snapped back. There's a place for that.
Well,
and
James Cameron, that's a good example. And obviously he's a huge, probably the biggest. But I remember back to the Terminator thing. Remember, you probably saw those interviews when Arnold said, I don't think the Terminator should say, I'll be back. He said, I will be back. And James Cameron was like, no. Don't say it that way. Say it, I'll be back with a contraction.
Oh, really?
It was this big...
Was that a thing?
Yeah. It was Arnold's first book. He talked about it.
Listen, James, I don't think this is working.
Yes.
I can't say it this way.
Yeah.
I will be back. I will be back.
And it was this thing. And so James Cameron's like, no, you need to say it the way that I wrote it.
Yeah.
I don't tell you how to act. You don't tell me how to write the script. And that was like the most iconic line in the whole movie. So he obviously knew what he wanted.
Sure. Absolutely.
So when he didn't want to budge, good for him, I guess.
Right. But especially Arnold Schwarzenegger and James Cameron, because they did a number of films together. I have a feeling there's still some collaboration between those two. And I actually, funny enough, again, living where we live, we know one of the stunt people that worked on Avatar Part 2 and Part 3. Amazing guy. Worked with James Cameron. And yes, James Cameron is very specific, but
he's a hard ass.
Yes, but knows what he wants, knows what that vision is, and quite frankly, has a pretty good track record.
Yeah.
So
films,
maybe a few that you might have heard of. So, in that actor, that stunt performer is like, okay. I know what I need to do. I know what I signed up for, and I'm going to...
Can you say their name? I don't know if you can,
I'm going to give it.
We can edit it out if it's bad, but...
It's, I'm trying to... So, what is Josh Haddon? Hadon? Okay. Look him up on IMDb. Amazing. Incredible...
stunt guy.
Stunt guy. What is it? Parkour. So, yeah. I mean, He's listed in the movie. If you watch the credits of Avatar, you'll see him in there.
Okay.
But yeah, he played one of the Na'vi brothers, I believe. He actually played several different characters. But,
okay.
But worked with James Cameron and got to see what that was like. So,
awesome.
But everyone's different. Everyone brings their own personality to. Trust me, I'm a different banker, and I have a different way of doing things than the other people in my office do, and that's just what my style is. And I'd like to think it's helped make me successful, but I can promise you I've probably lost a deal or two just because, dude, that guy will just say anything. What the heck? Or he'll just tell us anything. Hey, your business model sucks. No, we weren't expecting that. Anyway,
I
don't ever say that to clients, by the way.
I love tying this back to earlier episodes. We try to. Well, you and I were talking before we started rolling. The HELM theory that I have, the health ethos, love money. I think I love the idea that you dumped money into your kids' passion. Like you said before, it's easy, I think, for parents to say, oh, well, I'll send my kid to college and pay for the school to tell my kid what he should or shouldn't do or let him figure out his lane.
Sure.
But we won't spend our money not at college and buy him equipment and fund a movie.
Right.
Like, I've never heard of a parent doing that. And I think that's huge. I don't remember the comedian, but gosh, I know her voice. Her voice was one of the lead in Wreck-It Ralph. Did you ever see Wreck-It Ralph?
Yeah.
You know the little, it's Glitch. What is it, Caleb? Do you know? Sarah Silverman, yeah.
Oh yeah, she's
So
got a very distinct voice.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
same kind of thing. She said she didn't want to go to college, and so her parents supported her. Like, hey, we'll pay your rent. We'll make sure you're taken care of. Go do your comedy thing.
Right.
Like, go. We're gonna support you. And it's Sarah Silverman. Like, I mean, that's huge.
It is.
So, and the reason I'm saying this is, I've got a kid that's soon to be 17.
Yeah.
And another kid that's soon to be 15, and I'm thinking, God, the first one, there's no way he's going to go to college. What do we do here?
What
so
do you?
we're vicariously, kind of using you and Jackie as a
That is a mistake,
a test
but thanks.
case.
I don't know, man. How do you map out a path for your life and stick on that path when it changes so many times?
When
And-
artificial intelligence is going to take over.
Oh yeah.
anyway, so.
Besides, yeah, that's all. We're all going to be dead, and it will be the Terminator in a couple years anyway.
Yeah.
But the fact is, I don't know, man. You roll with the punches, and you. I think if you're coming to it from a place of love and support, and as long as you exude that and continue that thought, that philosophy, that feeling, you're not. Yeah, you might make a few missteps or a few mistakes, but they were all honest mistakes and missteps. And at the end of the day, I'm a weird believer in the universe will turn out the way that it's supposed to turn out.
Yeah.
And I
Call it karma, call it whatever you want
to. Whatever that is, quantum physics and entanglement and being able to create your own destiny by visualizing whatever. Yeah. But the fact is that whatever it is that you do, it's gonna work. It just believe that, and if you do believe that, it will happen. It almost never happens the way that you think it will, but it will. And this is a great example right now. I mean, we've made this movie. I've dumped a bunch of money into it. I have never had more faith that we're going to be a success. What if we're a failure? It could happen. So I'm sitting here saying I believe. I absolutely believe.
So if
but
it flops, you're going to do another one anyway.
Well,
I would assume
if it
so.
flops, that flop is going to be the reason the next one will be a success.
Exactly.
If it flops,
I like that attitude.
someone's going to find, Caden or Rylan as a result of it.
Yeah.
And it may hurt. It may hurt for 5 years as Mom and I are, still paying on this investment that we have.
Right.
But knowing and believing that it's going to turn out right, it'll turn out right.
Yeah.
It will. And so I don't know. That's corny as hell.
No,
I'm
but
sorry,
that's I love that. I love that.
That's kind of how we both think.
Yeah.
And with both of our boys, and the tough part is now I've got a 24-year-old and a 27-year-old going, holy shit.
Right.
We've got all our eggs in one basket, and now they're realizing we're done. What if this doesn't work? What do we do? Me and my wife, we already, I've got a career, we've got a house, and and a piece of crap dog that she loves, and there's nothing that's going to mess with us. It might hurt if we don't get our money back, but our boys are looking at this like, this is my life.
Right.
I just put myself out there, and my God, right? And all I can tell them both is, and it's funny because I can see them rolling their eyes at me, but just believe that this is going to work.
Right.
In one way or another, it's going to work, and just believe that. I mean, that doesn't mean you don't have healthy dose of skepticism and that you don't look at the things and go, well, I mean, this could happen and that could happen. I definitely, Rylan is a glass is half empty type of guy, and that actually is what has motivated him. Is he works harder because he thinks because he thinks the world is harder.
Right.
Okay, whatever it takes, bro.
If it makes a better product in the
makes
end,
and he does. You should see this stuff. That's
He's
just a kid
super
that's
talented,
I don't
yeah.
think I'm going to get an A in college. He'd tell himself that because he would work extra hard because he didn't think he was going to get the A get the A.
Right.
I don't know. It's a weird.
See, I
reverse.
was a take the D and run kind of
Yeah,
guy.
see
I'm
there?
I just,
That's what she said.
I love it.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
No. So we should wrap this then. So when people see this, if they haven't seen the movie yet,
Right.
where do you think, or can you say where they should view it? Is it in festivals? Where's the leading indicators of where they're going to be able to view it? Is it going to be on
Anywhere you
Amazon?
can.
Okay.
So I'll
just
share.
Google Recollection.
Right. I will share right now that again, Recollection.
Bam. Can we focus on that? Can we get that one?
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
All right.
I will say that we are we were accepted to the Spokane International Film Festival.
Okay.
And we are going to premiere. This will be the world premiere of our film on March the 7th.
Awesome.
So, if this comes out before then, my goodness, please go buy a ticket. I think the most important thing is if I can get this local community, get Coeur d'Alene, Spokane, Sandpoint, the areas that we filmed this, and get them behind the film.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't have to get any further than have a really, really good local following, and it will pay for itself, and it will give us the opportunity to do this again.
So real quick, not to go off on another tangent, but
Too easy to do.
why world premiere? Why did we focus here in this area as opposed to taking it to LA or to Atlanta or Vancouver or whatever?
There's a couple different thoughts and philosophies about film festivals, and you could probably Google it and you'll get a million different answers. Would I love to be in Sundance or, Tribeca? Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
But we're from here. We know people, everyone, all 200 cast members, or as actually I think it was 186, are from this area, with the exception of a couple of our leads that
You had to pull from.
that we had to pull from. Yeah, no, Eric does not live in Coeur d'Alene. But the fact of the matter is that those folks know people, and everyone was the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon, and
Right. 3 degrees now, right? With social media.
Oh gosh. So that should allow us to make a splash here. I hope that our local community, as a result of just how much local talent it was involved in this film, will drive people to see it.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll do really, really well. And that is the building block. That's where we're gonna start. We are gonna make a splash in our local community.
I love that, by the way. I
And
love that
just-
you're
thank you.
supporting. Yeah.
And again, hopefully, this local area is going to support us. Hopefully, they'll take a look and go, my goodness, we can do this, and we can do this here. We
Yeah.
can make something of this quality. Once again, I feel really like I'm overselling it, and once again, I'm incredibly biased. However, I'll just say, I think we've made something really special here. I think
so too.
It looks on par with what you're seeing coming out of Hollywood. It's not.
I saw the rough cut, and I was, hands down, like this is going to be awesome.
Well, thank you.
I mean, I know there's so many movies and series and so many things out there, but I think
There
generally,
is. There's a lot of content.
yeah, you're going to watch this and think, okay, this is one that I could come back to. Like, this is a good.
It is kind of a thinker. I think in certain
Yes,
parts
that's a good way to put
you're
it.
gonna need to just to go. What was that again?
Yeah, no, those are
and
the
so-
best films. Like, wait,
Yeah.
I gotta go back and rewatch that.
Right.
Or
There
when you're
you go.
talking to your spouse, like,
That's
so,
right. Spend
so
another
why
$4.
did they do this? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Mark, I appreciate you for coming
it's
on.
been my pleasure.
I know we could go down 150 different rabbit trails, but I'm excited for this to come out. Really,
Thank
I
you.
am. It's gonna be super killer.
Wow. Well, I appreciate that, and you also did an amazing job in this film.
Oh, I was in the film.
You
Is
were
that- oh,
actually,
okay.
yeah,
That's
actually,
good to know.
And you needed to act, because there's a certain complexity to that character that we needed a good actor to do that, and I'm just really thrilled that we were able to
Thank you.
get you in there. Oh,
Still
my
trying
pleasure.
to get Caden
So-
to give me a scene where I take my shirt off, but he
Yeah.
hasn't done that yet.
Yeah,
so
no,
we'll work on
it. No one wants to see that.
Okay. Not right now, they don't. God, not with all this beer. I jumped on the scale. It was 221.
You're putting that out there?
Yeah.
Wow,
I
okay.
got to body shame myself.
Oh, okay.
Ending this.
I thought ladies like the dad bod now. That
Maybe.
isn't that.
I'm
That's
like,
the
dude, I
thing.
got a lot of bod for the wife. I mean, she doesn't mind, I guess, but
Have you really? Yeah. Well, don't make the mistake of asking her.
I won't
She
ask her. Yeah.
minds.
Hey, babe.
Yeah, it's in the contract. Yeah, we're married. Sorry.
That's right. Sorry, babe. All right.
All
Hey,
right.
appreciate you, man.
Hey,
Thank
my
you.
pleasure.
Good,
Thank you, Steve. Thanks for having me on.
Been fun, man.
Yeah.
All right. Let's wrap it, dudes.
Cool.